I have a question about how all of creation streams are streams of energy, and that the overview of all of these streams sent forth from God, how they return to God in all the different kinds of energy forms. I asked to meditate with somebody who can give me an explanation of that. And the information begins. Energy is threads. There are threads going out from God, and these threads, although you would think of them as small, they are vast. These threads are also energy pathways. There are many, many of these woven into the tapestry of all that is. When we go out from God as being, we follow these threads through the stream of energy to the whole length and breadth and depth of the energy expression potential along and flow along that thread or pathway. Now, this is more in a general sense than an individual sense, because as individual consciousness, we also have energy threads, energy pathways. But what we are talking about now are the broad streams of energy types. In their large form, they are ponderous and slow. But as forms or manifestations get more and more defined within that energy possibility, the pace is quickened and there's much more activity. Also, at the beginning and the end, as the thread loops, as the energy corridor goes away and back from God, at the beginning and at the end near God, it slows and is more congealed, which is not to say it is less energized. It's just that there's more going on. The activity by the individual members flowing with this thread is more possible out at the extremities from God. So I'm asking, are there identifying terms for the flows, for the energy flows? I believe the answer is coming, that time is one and life is one of the two energies we're dealing with in our manifestation. Those beings which exist in this dimension, there are beings which exist in this dimension without life that are in the energy flow called time, that apart from life, I think what it's saying here is that in universe, there are also places where time exists, but life doesn't, and where life exists, but time doesn't. But here it is combined. There are myriads of other flows, for there is so much choice in universe. And in the bands of these threads, the energy is equal. However, within the threads themselves, in delineation and definition, there can be greater to lesser as a distinction. But these threads form a very powerful web that is the reality of the universe. That is the actuality of the universe. In this web work is everything that exists. And this in the very vast context of God. The energy possibilities or potentials of God flow in these energy pathways. You would not recognize the web and flow of energy in some of the other ones, nor would you recognize the creatures that are participating in the flows of energy. But there are many, indeed most, that do not have life as one of the conditions to offer, like consciousness in a physical dimension. It is too vast and complex to look at one versus the other. When you look, we must look to the stars, because in the myriad of misunderstandings regarding these brights, there we also see the misunderstanding or the wanting of truth, or the truth left wanting. You humans cannot understand this on earth. He continues, I cannot travel in most of these other energy realms. I have done all of my traveling in meditation, in the general thread that life and time are a part of, the manifestation of, because I cannot skip out of my thread. However, there are vast reaches of this particular energy tone or thread or time that I can explore for the rest of my conscious life, in general and in particular, but I cannot break out of this thread of energy that I will follow back to God from here. Everything that I have seen and experimented with thus far is but one of the threads. And it really isn't important for you to visit the other ones. It's just important for you to know that there are others, that many others exist. It is this vast network that is God, this vast outreaching, going back, and all its components. It is not really that we are outside of God when we are on our journey. Our journey is the makeup of God, God's journey out of all energy is the makeup of God. So in one sense, it's correct to say that you are God, but this should be seen as an overview of the entire energy that we participate in, and not the individual's choice making or decision making. That the pulsing and the flowing and the movement of all energy is the makeup of God, and God is the name for all of it. So we participate in our energy fields, in our energy flows on many, many different levels as we journey and venture as God, as expression, as energy. And we call these energy flows a thread, even though they are so vast to encompass all that you know. It is also a small, intricate part of all that is. And the thread is the connection as the connecting line. You can travel to a different section on your own thread to get information that is more pertinent in your walking, waking existence, and to access help with others, other information sources. I just wanted to point out that once in one of the other meditations, these threads or energy, broad energy pathways, were also called the interstitial flows that are through what we think of as empty space in the universes.